All right, so they avoid argument. They don't want to get into a conflict with you because they are well mannered. They may have their disagreements, and they may be very critical, and they will be criticizing you, but they don't get into argument. Whenever there's an argument, they shy away. They try not to get into conflict because they think they are sophisticated people, and getting into argument is not their way of. But they will always be critical. Remember that. So that's an art, become being a critical person and not getting into argument. Um, so you can imagine what kind of person you're talking about. So this is well controlled. So due to the association and love for art and being sensitive, they are very creative. The nature is how the nature is working because they love art and they are sensitive. So therefore they are creative. They find ways to do things. So because of that, because of their nature and all that, they are very, I don't know, I'm not finding the right word. A person who is more oriented towards the self, um, uh, you know, I think I used the word again is gone. But anyway, they usually pay attention to their bodies as well. They're like more slim, just like their hands. They're slim, but they are healthy bodies. They try to take care of their body. They're healthy, but they're slim. They are not fatty or ugly, or not to say fat people are ugly, but I mean because ugly in a sense that they want to beautify themselves in that sense. They don't want to look like, they don't want to look fat or anything. They're slim. They take care of themselves. They want to be neat and clean and blah blah. But it doesn't mean that the other people are the opposite of it. So I don't want to imply that. Absolutely not. So don't take it. So especially pointed hand. Don't be critical when you're listening to this. Don't try to read between the line. Okay, I'm trying to teach because it's information. So it's nothing. It's not an opinion. It's information. So because of this, now they're taking so much. They're so much critical. They're trying to pay attention to every little detail. They want to have everything put on the right place and do this and do that. They create stress. Result is they have a lot of stress coming up to them. So when they have stress, they have a bad digestion. They have acidity in their stomach. They have burning, heartburns. They have digestive issues. And because of their nature, they are more sophisticated, more artistic, and more intuitive, and more creative. And they're slim. They're not hardworking in that sense, like as compared to hardworking people. So they try to avoid physical work. They are not the person who would work all day long, as a laborer. They will never. They work, but their work is light. It's not physical. It's more mental. It's more creative, like artists or in people in fine arts. So, in such hands, if the fingers are very pointy and thin on the top. So now these hands, when you have pointed hand and they extend to be very pointy and very thin on the top, then such fingers, the person who has it is not very practical. So the more it becomes pointed, the more it becomes thinner on the top, the less practical the person becomes. So if you have a pointed hand with a slightly squarish thing, that's a good sign that person is also a hard worker person. But if it keeps getting pointed and long and pointed, the person is lazy, doesn't want to work, is not practical, he's a thinker. He could be, because of the nature of critical thinker and creative, he could be a writer though. So you're just sitting typing all day long and that's it. You don't want to go out, you don't want to do anything, somebody else do the shopping for you. So you're just creative. So the more pointed it gets, the less practical you become, or this person becomes. And it's obviously lazy for these reasons. So does not like worldly matters. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, you know what? To hell with the world. I'm here. I don't want to go out, watch TV, do things which are more domestic. And so physical work is out of question for them. It's not. It's not there. So somebody else will come, clean your room, clean up your kitchen. So that's how it happens with some people. So if the fingers are, it's, what happens is these people are become more spiritual because their physical is so less dominant on them. So the spirits, because their mental work and their spiritual work, they're creative, they become spiritual if it's more pointed and long fingers. The person could be attracted towards Sufism, for example. I'm just trying to explain the kind of a person who could be a philosopher or a Sufism or some involved in spiritual activities and things like that. So he's usually lost in thought because he's a thinker, he's a creator, he's a critical person. He looks at things and he's always, first he's quick thinker. He's now the tendency, because the fingers are becoming more pointed and longer, and now he's becoming a thinker. He's becoming a less practical, but more person of a brain and soul, spirituality. So he becomes very imaginative. Imagination is the one thing that is really good with him or her. So you have to make sure that such person, you can suggest to them to write, be creative in something, because they're imaginative, they're lazy. So what a lazy person can do? I think more like writing is the best creativity as well as so. Because they're imaginative, so they accurately predict future. They're good at predicting future because they're intuitive, very intuitive, and they're spiritual as well, so they can predict. So such people are also very good in spiritual healing. They can sit with you, they can say, okay, this is wrong, do this, do that. Because they're spiritual, they'll do spiritual healing as well. Being critical, they will pick up and tell you, this is wrong, do this. This is wrong, do this. This is how you fix things. So they become spiritual healers. Of course, as it goes, the health also becomes really questionable. It really becomes bad health, poor health. So that's a question. The person is not caring for him or herself. So they don't eat much though, because their health conditions and all that. They're always busy doing something, especially mentally. So they don't pay much attention to food. So they don't eat much. So and then they keep getting extremely thin. They can be very, very thin at times. So if you look at a very thin person and you look at his or her hand, probably you'll find it more pointed hand. Maybe to a spiritual hand, from a pointed hand to a spiritual hand. So the power of resistance is low. They cannot resist. They cannot resist. They cannot fight. That's why they avoid conflict and arguments. They cannot resist. It's low. So they don't like to be among people. They want to go. They say, okay, they are more inward. They are more domestic. They avoid, going out. And like I said, somebody else will come and clean the room or house for them, or take care of them. They don't want to be indulged in the worldly things. But at the same time, word comes to them because they're spiritual people. They are spiritual healers. They're critical. They tell you things which are good for you. So the people, they tend to them. They come towards them. They come and talk to them, So they are the center of the gravity for other people. So they get, people get attracted, and that's basically the point. Generally speaking, the pointed hand. And I think it has gone maybe what 30 minutes now. It's a long. I literally I thought it will be only a 10, 12-minute lecture, but you know what? When you start to explain these things, there's no end to it. You can continue talking about, because one thing leads to another thing. So this is the pointed hand, friends. So we will talk about the other two hands after this, which will be square hand and the flat hand, and then we'll go switch on to the move on to the mixed hand. That's where we're going to spend a lot of time in mixed hand, because there are all kind of, even finger is mixed. All fingers are mixed. Palm is mixed. Everything is mixed. So we're going to talk about all those things. So I hope you like this one. Please like the channel, like the video, leave your comments. It can only let me improve on what I give you, and it will encourage me to make more videos and bring more stuff to you. So like the channel, like the video, leave the comment, and ask your friends, share with your friends, and make this channel popular, so that I can be encouraged by putting more stuff here. Thank you very much. Have a nice one.